Ted Bundy?
I've never spoken to anybody about this.
Ted Bundy, one of the most notorious serial killers in history, a stark reminder that monsters can hide in plain sight. He was handsome, charming, and utterly ruthless. Bundy used his charm to lure his victims, masking his sinister intentions. His crimes were gruesome, involving kidnapping, assault, and murder, leaving an indelible mark on the American psyche. He instilled fear in communities across the country, becoming synonymous with pure evil. What's something people don't know about Ted Bundy? His most disturbing crime was the brutal murder of Linda Ann Healy. The disappearances followed a chilling pattern. Bundy often targeted college campuses and other locations frequented by young women. His victims were last seen in seemingly ordinary situations, leaving libraries, walking between classes, or simply enjoying a day at the park. Each disappearance left behind a trail of shattered families and unanswered questions. One of his earliest known victims, Linda Ann Healy, vanished from her Seattle apartment in 1974. The 21-year-old's disappearance set off alarm bells. Police found her bedroom splattered with blood, a chilling sign of the violence that had transpired. It was a pattern that would repeat itself with terrifying regularity. As weeks turned into months, the list of missing and murdered young women grew. The Pacific Northwest was in the grip of a full-blown panic. Parents kept their daughters close, and a sense of unease permeated everyday life. The boogeyman, it seemed, had come to life. Bundy's modus operandi was as calculated as it was chilling. He was a master manipulator, preying on the kindness of strangers. He often feigned injuries, using crutches or a sling to appear non-threatening. Other times, he would impersonate authority figures, such as a police officer or a firefighter, to gain his victims' trust. His weapon of choice was often blunt force trauma or strangulation, brutal and personal acts of violence. He would often transport his victims to remote locations, adding to the difficulty of locating them. After the murders, he would sometimes revisit the crime scenes, even engaging in acts of necrophilia, a testament to his depravity. Bundy was meticulous in covering his tracks. He often chose victims who were not immediately missed, giving him a head start on investigators. He was also careful to avoid leaving fingerprints or other forensic evidence, further complicating the investigation. Bundy's most potent weapon was his charm. He was handsome and charismatic, with an easy smile and a disarming demeanor. He could be engaging and articulate, often coming across as intelligent and trustworthy. This facade of normalcy made him all the more dangerous, as it allowed him to get close to his victims without arousing suspicion. He would often approach women in public places, asking for help with his car, carrying books, or finding a lost pet. His pleas for assistance, delivered with a charming smile and a disarmingly helpless demeanor, played on his victims' empathy, lulling them into a false sense of security. Once he gained their trust, he would lure them to his Volkswagen Beetle, often claiming he needed help with something inside the car. This was his trap, a confined space where he could overpower his victims before they even realized the danger they were in. Section 5. Close calls and narrow escapes. Despite his meticulous planning, Bundy's facade began to crack. There were close calls, moments when his carefully constructed world almost crumbled around him. One such incident occurred in 1974 when he attempted to abduct Carol Duranch from a shopping mall in Salt Lake City, Utah. Posing as a police officer, Bundy approached Duranch, claiming her car had been tampered with. When she became suspicious, he attempted to handcuff her, but she fought back with surprising ferocity. She managed to escape his clutches, her story providing crucial evidence that would later help link him to other crimes. Another chilling encounter occurred when Bundy broke into a sorority house at Florida State University in 1978. He bludgeoned 2 women to death and attacked 2 others. Miraculously, one of the victims, Nita Moss, regained consciousness and survived the attack. Her harrowing account of the night's events provided further insight into Bundy's brutality. Section 6. The walls close in. As the body count rose, so did the pressure on law enforcement. Bundy's name began to surface in connection with several cases across multiple states. Witnesses came forward, describing encounters with a man matching his description, driving a Volkswagen Beetle, and often using crutches or a sling. A break in the case came in August 1975 when Bundy was pulled over for a routine traffic violation in Utah. A search of his vehicle revealed handcuffs, a crowbar, and other suspicious items. He was arrested for possession of burglary tools, but his true identity remained a mystery. It was during his subsequent trial for the attempted kidnapping of Carol Duranch that the pieces began to fall into place. Duranch positively identified Bundy as her attacker, and other evidence, including bite marks on one of his victims, linked him to several murders. Section 7. Behind the mask, unmasking a monster. With the weight of evidence mounting, Bundy was extradited to Florida to face charges for the Chi Omega sorority house murders. His trial, a media spectacle, captivated the nation. Despite his attempts to maintain his innocence, the jury found him guilty on all counts. He received multiple death sentences. Even after his conviction, Bundy continued to manipulate and deceive. He granted interviews, offering chilling glimpses into his psyche. He confessed to dozens of murders, often in graphic detail, but he never took full responsibility for his actions, often blaming his crimes on pornography or an abusive childhood. Experts who studied Bundy were struck by his lack of remorse and his ability to compartmentalize his crimes. He seemed to derive a perverse pleasure from the notoriety his case generated, reveling in the attention and infamy. Section 8. A legacy of fear. On January 24, 1989, Ted Bundy was executed in Florida's electric chair. His death brought a sense of closure to the families of his victims. Bundy's legacy is one of fear, a reminder that evil can lurk behind charming facades. His case had a profound impact on criminal justice and forensic science. It highlighted the importance of victim advocacy and forensic evidence in solving crimes. More than 3 decades after his execution, Ted Bundy remains a subject of morbid fascination.